A Karen decided it was a good idea to steal a home run ball from a little boy.
Sometimes you need that reset. Oh.
And Bader just unloads on this one. Deep left field, and that one is gone as Bader.
But people online have been wrongfully identifying the wrong person?
Cheryl Richardson-Wagner didn't just reach for a baseball. She reached for a kid's dream. At least that's what millions of outraged fans believe after watching one viral clip. And within hours, the internet wasn't just booing her, it was digging into her life, her name, and even her job. The headline spreading fastest that she'd been fired from a New Jersey school district. But is that the real story? Or just the internet writing its own script?
Now, here's what's crazy. People have been identifying her, giving all these names, saying that she was an administrator at some school. There have been several people now reporting and saying, oh, great, she got fired. Should she have gotten fired just for this? I mean, I don't like her. She's shameful.
It all began at Lone Depot Park during the Phillies-Marlins game. Harrison Bader launched a home run into the left field seats, and the scramble began. Cameras zoomed in on the chaos. A boy reaching up wide-eyed just inches away. Then came Cheryl in her Phillies jersey, leaning over and snatching the ball before he could close his fingers around it. The crowd groaned, the broadcast caught it, and by the next morning, the internet had a new villain. Phillies Karen. A name designed to stick like glue. And it did. Clips of her smugly holding the ball ricocheted across TikTok and Twitter, where outrage isn't just common, it's currency. That's when the rumors about her job started. Amateur sleuths on Reddit and X claimed they'd found her full identity. Cheryl Richardson-Wagner, allegedly an employee of Hamilton Public Schools in New Jersey. Screenshots of supposed staff directories circulated. Some even claimed parents had recognized her from school events. "Protect the kids," one viral comment read. "If she'll steal a baseball, what else will she take from children?"
The ball's on the ground. She never had it. She never had it. You know why this guy notices? Because she's got her phone in her hand.
It wasn't just a meme anymore. It was a digital manhunt. By September 6th, hashtags like #FirePhilliesKaren and #ProtectTheKids were trending locally. TikTok creators staged dramatic reenactments of her crime, adding captions like, "And this is who teaches your children?" Influencers piled on, claiming she had already been terminated by Hamilton schools. And because outrage spreads faster than facts, most viewers never questioned it. The narrative was simple, easy, and brutal. She stole from a kid, got caught, and lost her job. Justice served. But here's the first crack in the story. No official source confirmed her firing. Not the Phillies, not Major League Baseball, not even Hamilton Public Schools themselves. Yet the internet treated the rumor as gospel, pushing her into the same viral courtroom where CEOs, celebrities, and reality TV stars had been sentenced by meme before her.
I mean, what he should have done is this, honestly. If he had just, pushed her away into the stands. Yay, Dad!
Think about the Coldplay Kiss cam scandal with Andy Byron or the US Open hat theft CEO. Those stories had receipts, but in Cheryl's case, the evidence was thin, stitched together by screenshots and anonymous claims. Still, that didn't stop her name from being dragged across platforms or curious parents in local forums from asking questions. And as the volume grew louder, one question became unavoidable. Did Hamilton really fire Cheryl, or is this another case of the internet rewriting reality? The video didn't just go viral, it detonated. By the morning after the Phillies-Marlins game, TikTok's For You page was plastered with the clip of Cheryl Richardson-Wagner clutching that home run ball. Creators zoomed in on her face, added dramatic soundtracks, and compared her expression to villains from Disney movies. The comments were ruthless. "That kid's face will haunt me," one viewer wrote. "She deserves to lose way more than a baseball." That sentiment fueled a second wave. The job rumors. On Reddit, threads titled "Phillies Karen Teaches Your Kids" rose to the top of r/Phillies and r/Public Freakout.
Wow. This is pathetic.
Amateur detectives shared screenshots they claimed were staff rosters from Hamilton Public Schools, highlighting a Cheryl R. Wagner. Word spread that people online said they had insider knowledge she was gone. Whether true or not, the posts gained traction because they confirmed what thousands wanted to believe: karma had arrived quickly. Soon, TikTok stitched those claims into full-blown narratives. Influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers recorded videos saying, "Breaking news, Phillies Karen just got fired from her school job." Some even used green screen effects to display supposed termination letters. Though none of them were verified, the goal wasn't accuracy. It was speed, virality, and the chance to dunk on a woman who had become a national villain overnight. One clip, viewed 1.3 million times in 24 hours, ended with the line, "Actions have consequences." She took the ball, now she lost her job. Meanwhile, local chatter kept growing. Facebook groups in Hamilton filled with speculation. Some parents asked if it was true, while others simply said, "This better not be someone working with kids." The outrage wasn't about baseball anymore. It was about morality, role models, and whether schools were employing someone the internet had labeled a thief. But here's where the story took a darker turn.
Hey, get out of there! Hear it! Hear it!
Yeah, she lost her mind. This woman completely lost her mind.
With each repost, Cheryl's personal details spread further. Anonymous accounts posted alleged addresses, phone numbers, and even photos of her family. None of it was officially confirmed, but once outrage enters the bloodstream of the internet, facts rarely slow it down. For thousands of angry fans, the supposed firing wasn't just plausible, it was justice. And every new confirmation post, no matter how flimsy, was celebrated as proof. At this stage, the stakes had shifted. It wasn't only about whether Cheryl kept her job, it was about how far the internet was willing to go to punish her for 10 seconds of selfishness at a ballpark. And as the frenzy spiraled, the pressure mounted on Hamilton Public Schools to respond, because silence was no longer an option. By the third day of the frenzy, mainstream media had entered the chat. Local Philadelphia outlets, always hungry for a story that mixes baseball and drama, picked up the Phillies Karen saga. Headlines like "Fan accused of snatching ball from child identified" and "Rumors swirl around Hamilton's school employee" began popping up across regional news sites. The tone was cautious. Outlets used words like "alleged" and "reportedly," but the implication was clear. The internet had already decided her guilt, and journalists were racing to catch up. That's when Hamilton Public Schools broke their silence.
Every moment around my kids is a potential teaching moment. So I try to keep that mentality, and I guess it shined through.
He didn't want his kid to have the day ruined, didn't want to get in some big epic fight, and he even said he was holding back.
In a short but pointed statement, the district addressed the rumors head on. "We have no record of a Cheryl Richardson-Wagner ever being employed by Hamilton Public Schools," the release read. "Any claims suggesting otherwise are false." It was blunt, definitive, and directly contradicted the viral narrative. But instead of cooling the outrage, the denial only seemed to confuse the online mob. If she wasn't an employee, why were there screenshots? If she wasn't fired, why were so many convinced? The contradiction deepened the mystery. Insiders familiar with media culture noted how rare such a fast response was. Usually, school districts try to stay out of viral scandals unless absolutely necessary, one local reporter told NJ.com. The fact that Hamilton issued a denial shows how loud the backlash was. But to TikTok and Twitter users, the statement felt suspicious. Some claimed the district was covering up to protect themselves. Others doubled down, saying the school was playing word games, that maybe Cheryl was a contractor or substitute. Even a flat-out denial couldn't outshout millions of people who wanted the story to be true. The irony? While the internet was convinced they had fired her, Cheryl herself remained silent. No public comment, no apology, no statement. Her absence created a vacuum that was filled by speculation. Was she hiding? Was she talking to lawyers? Was she, as some YouTubers suggested, preparing to sue for defamation? The lack of answers only made the situation juicier for content creators, who now had not just a villain, but a conspiracy to unravel. Meanwhile, the narrative began to expand beyond one woman and one baseball. Commentators drew comparisons to past viral fan scandals. The Chicago Cubs' Steve Bartman incident, where a single fan interfering with a foul ball became a citywide pariah, and more recently, the Polish millionaire CEO who snatched a hat from a child at the US Open. Each of these cases showed how quickly sports outrage could transform into cultural judgment. But unlike Bartman or the CEO, Cheryl's case was tangled with questions of employment, morality, and whether the internet had gone too far. By now, it wasn't just about did she take the ball, it was about whether the world had fired the wrong woman, literally and figuratively. And if Hamilton's denial was true, the entire viral narrative might collapse under its own weight. But before that happened, the mob still had one more round of fury to unleash. When Hamilton Public Schools issued their denial, they probably expected the storm to ease. Instead, it supercharged the chaos. To the online mob, the flat rejection wasn't closure, it was gasoline. Screenshots claiming to show Cheryl's LinkedIn kept circulating with captions like, "So we're all just supposed to believe the school district?" TikTok creators re-uploaded the denial statement side by side with supposed proof and concluded they're hiding something. Fans refused to let go. On Reddit, threads spun out theories that the district was playing semantics. Maybe she wasn't a full employee, maybe she was a contractor, maybe she used her maiden name. Every rumor became evidence, every contradiction became part of a conspiracy. One viral post summed up the mood. The cover-up is worse than the crime. In reality, there was no cover-up. But in the court of public opinion, facts rarely matter once a narrative takes hold. Mainstream commentators weighed in. Sports radio hosts debated whether Hamilton was lying to protect itself from liability. A Philadelphia columnist compared the denial to corporate crisis spin, writing, "It's easier for a district to say she never worked there than to admit they employed the woman who stole a child's joy on national TV." Meanwhile, YouTubers and podcasters pumped out hour-long breakdowns dissecting Cheryl's every expression in the viral clip, tying her silence to guilt. "If she really wasn't fired, why hasn't she come forward herself?" one host asked, pulling hundreds of thousands of views in less than a day. The backlash didn't just stay online. Some claimed they'd emailed Hamilton administrators directly, demanding confirmation. Whether those exchanges were real or fabricated, screenshots circulated widely. The irony was brutal. A woman they had no connection to was dragging them into a PR crisis they couldn't escape. At the same time, broader debates about cancel culture reignited. Pundits compared Cheryl's treatment to the Steve Bartman foul ball saga in Chicago, where a single play ruined a man's life. Others pointed to more recent viral scandals like the millionaire CEO at the US Open or Andy Byron's infamous Coldplay kiss cam moment. But unlike those scandals, this one had no hard evidence of professional fallout, only the internet's collective insistence that it must have happened. By this point, Cheryl Richardson-Wagner wasn't just a woman in a Phillies jersey. She was a stand-in for everyone who's ever been trialed, convicted, and sentenced by the internet in record time. And as Hamilton's denial clashed with the mob's determination to believe otherwise, the scandal hit its boiling point. Someone had to be right, but the truth, as it turned out, was far less dramatic than the millions of people demanding blood wanted to hear. When the dust finally settled, the answer was surprisingly simple. Cheryl Richardson-Wagner was never fired from Hamilton Public Schools because she never worked there in the first place. The district's denial wasn't spin, it was fact. The viral directories were misreads, the screenshots were fakes or coincidences, and the parents demanding justice were yelling at the wrong target. In the end, Cheryl hadn't lost her job, she had lost her reputation. That distinction didn't make the backlash vanish. Once the internet has decided a villain exists, it rarely pauses to reconsider. For days afterward, TikTok comments still insisted Hamilton was lying, or that Cheryl had been scrubbed from staff lists. The truth was out there, but outrage had already done its work. Her name was burned into a million memes, her face frozen in that frame of her clutching the baseball while a kid's hand hung empty. She may not have been fired, but she'd been branded in a way no HR letter could undo. Insiders in media and sports circles pointed out how familiar the pattern felt. We've seen this with Steve Bartman, we've seen it with the Polish CEO at the US Open, and we've even seen it with high-profile celebrities like Andy Byron. One commentator told The Athletic, "The internet doesn't wait for the facts. It writes its own script and dares reality to catch up." The Phillies Karen scandal became a case study in how quickly misinformation hardens into perceived truth, especially when moral outrage is involved. Fans, too, were divided once the truth broke through. Some admitted they'd gone too far. "Okay, maybe I shouldn't have spammed #FirePhilliesKaren," one Reddit user confessed. Others refused to let go. Doesn't matter if she worked there or not. She stole from a kid, read a viral tweet with 50,000 likes. For many, the viral clip was enough to justify punishment, regardless of what her actual employment record said. Culturally, the scandal highlighted a new reality. In the age of viral clips, the court of public opinion doesn't need evidence. It just needs a good story. Cheryl wasn't a teacher, but the idea that she was one made the outrage more satisfying, more viral, more shareable, and that's why the narrative stuck, even after it collapsed under scrutiny. So what do we make of Phillies Karen now? Maybe she's just another footnote in the long list of sports fan scandals? Or maybe she's a warning sign about how quickly the internet can manufacture not just a villain, but a punishment. Because if a single foul ball can cost someone their peace, what happens when the next viral outrage hits?